We're still only halfway through the year, but the K-pop industry has already been filled with controversies, turning some of its most beloved idols into the most hated. From ALLDAY Project's Tarzan to Karina and Jungkook, here are the most hated K-pop idols of 2025, at least so far. Chaewon, also known as Tarzan, is already one of the most talked about idols, and not for the best reasons. Even before his debut in the Black label's new co-ed group ALLDAY Project, controversy was already following him. Fans started side-eyeing him after seeing his Instagram, where he repeatedly wore box braids, cornrows, and other hairstyles tied to Black culture, not just for photo shoots or campaigns, but in his everyday style. Other pictures of him with grills, duregs, and his frequent use of ave made the backlash grow even more, fueling growing calls for him to be removed from the group before he was even introduced. Things got messier when people noticed he was following Tory Lanez, a so-called rapper convicted of multiple crimes, including an incident involving Megan Thee Stallion, adding more controversy to the growing backlash. The Black label didn't ease tensions when Chaewon appeared with cornrows in the group's first teasers and their debut video Famous. Some defended him, stating he might simply be influenced by growing up in the US and trying to fit in, but many called it for what it was, appropriating a culture he doesn't belong to. So far, the Black label and Chaewon have stayed silent, although Chaewon quietly unfollowed Tory Lanez after the controversy, which is a clear sign they're aware of the backlash, even if they're choosing not to speak up directly. Blackpink might be one of the biggest groups in K-pop, but that doesn't mean they're scandal-free. In fact, this year, a controversy hit them hard, and many people are still mad about it. It all started back in March, when someone who claimed to be a former YG Entertainment employee, who was allegedly angry after losing their job, began threatening to release sensitive information about some of the industry's most powerful companies. This person, calling themselves the YG leaker, said they had a massive amount of data, which was said to be multiple terabytes that could back up serious accusations against not just YG, but also SM, HYBE, Cube, RBW, and more. Some of the files that made waves were pre-debut videos featuring Blackpink members alongside trainees who didn't make it into their groups, including idols Mion. But the footage that really got people talking were clips of Jennie, Lisa, and Rosé covering popular songs and using the N-word while singing. At first, some insisted the recordings were fake or made by AI, but that claim fell apart pretty quickly. Supporters then said the videos were from years before Blackpink's debut in 2016, when the members were still teenagers, and that the word appeared in song covers, not in their own dialogue. Others demanded an explanation or an apology, arguing that the incident shouldn't be ignored, especially since the members were trying to break into the Western music market. So far, there's been no response from the members or their label, and many think there probably won't be one, at least not anytime soon. One scandal that really stood out this year involves Kiss of Life and Julie's birthday livestream that went completely off the rails. On April 2nd, a livestream was supposed to celebrate Julie's birthday with what they called a fun, old-school hip-hop theme, but things quickly went in a direction that many found messed up. The members appeared wearing big gold chains, hats, and hairstyles like Bantu knots and cornrows, looks that are a big part of Black culture, and started acting in a way many felt was mocking instead of honoring it. Some of their behavior, like calling a member Lil Taco Bell or putting on exaggerated mannerisms, drew heavy criticism and backlash from fans. Things got even more heated when messages from Belle a few days before the stream came to light. She had asked fans to look forward to Julie's birthday and not to leave the fandom afterwards, which was taken as a sign that the group knew there might be controversy but chose to go forward anyway. Things didn't get any better after the controversy. In fact, they only got messier. S2 Entertainment quietly removed the live stream from all their channels and put out a statement the very next day, on April 3rd, apologizing for causing discomfort. They said their intent was to celebrate hip-hop culture, a big influence on Kiss of Life's music, but admitted they hadn't fully considered the cultural impact of their actions. The company promised that both the members and the team would be more careful and respectful in the future. That, however, didn't ease much of the backlash. Many felt the company's words fell flat, especially because the members hadn't directly addressed the controversy themselves. Following the backlash, shortly after, the group released their own handwritten apology letter on their Instagram account, stating that they were reflecting on their choices and would do better. But a lot of people criticized this too, pointing out that the members hadn't directly apologized to the communities they offended, and that their apologies came across as an afterthought, following the company's instead of a sincere expression of regret. Then, a few weeks later, Julie addressed the controversy directly during a live stream on May 31st. She explained that they wanted to wait until after their birthday streams to speak up and stress the importance of owning up to their actions. Then Julie apologized directly to the Black and Latino community and promised that the group was putting in the work to do better in the future. Some fans felt this was a step in the right direction, while others saw it as a way to ease the backlash, especially with a comeback on the horizon and following their removal from KCON due to the controversy. Some people believe the apologies were more about protecting their careers, while others appreciate that the members did what was expected. However, at the end of the day, it's up to each person affected to decide whether they're ready to forgive or move on from the controversy. Karina from aespa also found herself caught up in controversy, all because of an Instagram post. On May 27th, Karina shared a few photos from a trip to Tokyo wearing a long white skirt and a red and black jersey with the number 2 on it alongside a single red rose emoji in her caption. To international fans, it seemed harmless, but in South Korea, the timing and details raised a lot of eyebrows. As you might know, the country was wrestling with political chaos for months. It all started when former President Yoon Suk-yeol was removed from office after his impeachment was finalized by the Constitutional Court in early April 2025, cutting his term short instead of letting him serve until 2027. Currently, a new president is already in place following the June 3rd election, which saw Lee Jae-myung of the Democratic Party defeating Kim Moon-soo from the People Power Party. Colors carry heavy political weight in South Korea during election time, with red signaling conservatism, while blue stands for the liberal side, which is why many celebrities avoid wearing them during campaigns or making gestures that could be misunderstood. Some even avoid making peace signs in photos, worried it might be seen as a show of support for candidate number 2, the number used by the Conservative Party on the ballot. So when she shared a picture wearing a red jersey with the number 2 alongside a rose emoji, many people saw it as a political message, whether intentional or not. The rose had already become a symbol for the Conservative People Power Party during their Rose election campaign, and as mentioned, the number 2 was their candidate's spot on the ballot. So a lot of fans felt Karina was openly signaling her support, especially with the growing political tensions at the time, and the backlash was immediate. It certainly didn't help that the party's spokesperson shared 2 posts featuring aespa and their music, while some of their most extremist supporters began using her image to promote their own right-wing political beliefs. SM Entertainment then rushed to clear things up, stating there was no hidden agenda and that Karina had removed the photo to avoid further confusion, but it didn't help all that much. Karina herself eventually addressed the controversy on Bubble, a fan-paid platform. She apologized for causing concern, insisted there was no political intent, and explained that the backlash had grown much bigger than she expected. Karina also promised to be more careful in the future. But many Korean netizens and international fans felt the response fell short, noting it was brief, delayed, and that she hadn't directly denounced those who used her image to promote their own agendas. Some even drew a comparison to her much more lengthy handwritten Instagram letter following dating rumors with actor Lee Jae-wook, wondering why this incident hadn't gotten the same depth of explanation. At this point, only time will tell if this controversy will have a lasting impact on Karina's career or if she'll move past it unscathed. This scandal happened pretty recently, but it turned someone who's usually one of the most beloved idols into a big topic of controversy. BTS's Jungkook had just gotten discharged from the military and was already back to performing. On June 13th, he made a surprise appearance at the first night of J-Hope's Hope on the Stage final concert at Goyang Sports Complex. During the rehearsal before the show, Jungkook was seen wearing a hat with the phrase "Make Tokyo Great Again" on it. The phrase, which is a play on US President Donald Trump's Make America Great Again slogan, has frequently been used by Japanese far-right figures, a fact that drew a ton of backlash and criticism. Jungkook didn't let the controversy continue though, and he addressed it almost immediately by posting an apology on Weverse at 2 a.m. In his message, he apologized for causing disappointment and discomfort with the phrase on his hat. He explained that he hadn't been aware of its historical or political significance and called his choice a shortcoming. Jungkook made it clear there were no excuses for his actions and openly admitted he had been careless and lacking in understanding. In the end, he let everyone know that he was accepting the criticism, reflecting on his mistake, and that he had disposed of the hat. In the end, while the controversy drew a lot of attention, it became a moment for Jungkook to address the situation, take responsibility for his actions, and move forward. Despite his quick apology, Jungkook wasn't let off the hook that easily. Many people called him out, stating that he's grown up and should be more careful with his choices, especially considering his huge influence. In fact, even amid the controversy, the hat ended up selling out completely, and the brand had to clarify that the phrase was meant as satirical and didn't reflect their beliefs. At the same time, Jungkook's fans rushed to his defense, pointing out that he had apologized before the controversy even grew bigger. To them, his apology was sincere and responsible, as according to them, he directly addressed the issue, admitted he was in the wrong, took accountability, stayed open to criticism, and made it clear where he stood on the matter. What do you think was the most hated idol in 2025? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and thank you for watching.